That there is a tardigrade. Keep that in your mind. So yes, this is the Retrotech 120p challenge. I hate that those numbers are right next to each other. It slips me up every time. Bastards. But yes, this is the Retrotech 120p challenge. Didn't slip me up that time, did it? I just repeated the same thing I just said, but never mind. And this week we're playing Lunar Rescue, where you have to rescue from the Luna. That's the moon. Yes, thank you for watching this. The person that is watching this right now is my favourite person who has watched this video so far. That's you then, isn't it? Yeah. And the idea of this is you descend from the heavens or space and you float down and you land on these little platforms and you collect these people while avoiding the meteorites, and then you go, oh, the aliens don't like us leaving. They've bunked off all the meteorites. They've decided to launch an attack on us for some reason. Maybe they really like the little people. I've got no idea. Maybe we're not rescuing them. Oh, there's a twist. We're kidnapping them. And things that you'll learn very quickly when playing this is that those 3 flashing dots are not stars, which later on in my game I realise aren't, but only after I hit the second one for some reason. Yes, so if you are playing this game, don't think that they're just background detail. They are, in fact, I don't know, space mines, I guess. So this is a Taito game from 1979, which I would have been 1 when this came out. November 1979, I think this was. And I play this in this run, in this trial, in this playthrough, about as well as I would have when I was 1. I won't be winning this week, let's just put it like that. So what's there to tell you about this apart from the fact it came out in 1979? Well, as you can see, it is a mixture of Lunar Lander crossed with Space Invaders. Both those games had come out a few months before it. That's how old this is. It's definitely one of the older games we've played so far on the channel. The choice of one real generic demon who you should definitely check out his channel. What a lovely chap he is. He loves a good smorgasbord of games. He's got one of those Nintendo Switch doohickeys, but he's also goes as far back as this with some of the games he plays on the 8-bit formats and in the old arcade games. So yeah, he's a lovely chap. Do look at his stuff. Look at all of the people that you'll see submitting videos for this, even though watching this will probably get a bit dour. It's sort of like walking backwards and forwards in a shop trying to find the rice. But it is fun to play. It's one of those simple concepts that is an entertaining thing to do. It didn't have an official release, believe it or not, on a home format until Taito Legends 2. Now, if you think, well, I've definitely played Lunar Rescue. I've got the box right there for the ZX Spectrum, the Acorn, or other 8-bit computers. It was by CRL. That was from the Wild West of software cloning, and they just straight up nicked the game and the name. So yeah, your version of Lunar Rescue on the Spectrum, it's not actually official. So there you go. So yes, not a lot really to say as my first go comes to an end, and I think when your first goes come to an end, I think that's a good time to start talking about animal genitals. And I've wanted to look forward to talking about this one. It is that fella in the background, the one I told you to keep in mind at the beginning of the video, because it is the tardigrade. And I find tardigrades fascinating. Before we get to the meat of the matter, let's find out a little bit more about tardigrades in general. The reason I've chosen them, obviously, for this challenge is because there's hardly any animals in space, so it made it very difficult. Now, an animal that can survive in space, in fact the only creature that can survive in space that we know of, is the tardigrade. And the reason for that is that tardigrades, you can find them all over the shop. Like the deep sea, inside active volcanoes, rainforests, the Antarctic, they're everywhere. The reason for this is You can dehydrate them, you can irradiate them, you can deprive them of air, you can take it and put them in extreme pressures, in extreme temperatures, you can starve them. The little buggers will keep on ticking over. And when I say little, they are 0.5 of a millimetre big. You've probably got one swimming around on your iris right now. Don't let that creep you out. There are 1,300 different species of tardigrade, and they all sort of look like this sort of, I don't know, sort of the inside of a hot water bottle kind of thing, but with claws. They're sort of basically, if you made a horror film about a killer hot water bottle, this is what they'd end up looking like. Only obviously much, much smaller. So talking about the genitals now, to be honest, they're not that fascinating, their genitals. They basically each, both the male and the female, they have a single gonad above their anus. And I mean, that's a sentence, I'll give you. But beyond that, they're not that interesting, I suppose. Tardigrades can be sexual or asexual. They lay eggs, and what the female does is she will drop her eggs in a shed outer skin, and then she'll just leave it floating about, and the fella tardigrade comes along and whacks one out with one of his 6 arms there, and then eventually that husk, that little eggshell husk, will have up to 40 little baby tardigrades in it, and they can do that. They can reproduce 12 times in their lifespan. That's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, I know a few people that haven't reproduced 12 times in their lifespan, if you know what I mean. I'm not one of them. At least 15 times. So yes, that is the tardigrades. Aren't they a fascinating thing? I find them amazing. I just think it's amazing that at any one time you could have like one floating past your face no matter where you are, and they look like these little horror creatures. What a fascinating thing the tardigrade is. So yeah, here's Lunar Rescue. Let's talk about the game. There's not a lot really, as I say, to talk about here. You've got these sort of very early designed spaceships, sort of very bland looking, but that's all you can do back in obviously the days where things were about 16 pixels across. I do like the colour aspect there, where it sort of changes colour as you go down the screen. That was probably due to some sort of film they put across the screen like they did with Space Invaders. It was probably all black and white, and somehow the emulation here has done that. That's just me talking nonsense, by the way. I've got no idea how this works. That's the sort of thing that Retro 48K will be able to explain. Possibly. I might be giving him too much credit. If I've given you too much credit there, Retro 48K, it doesn't matter, because you're going to win this challenge like you do every week. Yeah, so I like this bit with the solar flares coming down. At least I think they're solar flares, and they're not like the spaceship sort of just ejecting its sewage, which it might be. I mean, that'd be a terrible thing to have to put on a risk assessment form after it happened. And the accident book. Do you know where your accident book is at work? I hope so. I'm sorry, I did a first aid course last week. It was like going to work, but very short. I don't have tea breaks at work, and I have a half an hour lunch. And here, not only was the day shorter, but I got 2 15-minute tea breaks and an hour for lunch. And I went home at like 10 to 4. It was ridiculous. And that is game over. The tragedy of my life there. So if you want to join in, basically join the group, the Facebook group, and basically join in. You get to select a game, even if you lost that week. Bragging rights are available. You probably will lose, but yes, just join the group. You get your 2 goes. That's pretty good, isn't it? Just video your 2 goes. Don't cheat. Okay, thanks, bye.